you have cypherpunks, you've got people that were lucky, whatever. Well, now we're seeing the cohort of entrepreneurs the next 10 years getting into Bitcoin. And that's going to lead you to a world where the next 10 years going forward, those entrepreneurs are going to have a lot of wealth. Clearly, and we're talking about businesses getting Bitcoin, other entrepreneurs, all of us, getting Bitcoin. Well, guess what we're going to be doing over the next 10 to 20 years? Building businesses on the Bitcoin wealth that you accumulated. So guess where all the new stuff, like, because me, I look around, I'm like, how come Jack Dorsey's the only one, creating these big, massive things? Well, he's the guy that has the most amount of fiat wealth. You have a Sailor, some of these guys, there's a few people out there, Tether, starting to do things. These things will come over time, but it's the time converts more than reason, type of phenomenon. It just takes time. When you have enough amount of Bitcoiners with enough wealth to produce more products, goods, and services going forward in the next decade or two. So it's a very convoluted, it's simplistic, but it's not easy to explain in 1 second, to give someone like a 1 second answer. And so like going back to like the Bitcoin line of credit, some of these things are just these novel things that are coming out where, to your guys' point, the conversions are happening in the background, but you could just take out debt. If you were going to be smart with your debt, you could just take out debt, from my understanding, the entire time, pay it down month after month when your paycheck actually comes in. So you're not incurring, so like Forrest, yeah, I mean, the de minimis, all this stuff, for sure, intentional, but there are multiple ways around this. You talked about bit refill, Jor. There's many ways around this in the Bitcoin line of credit coming, where you can do this on a monthly basis, never incur any taxes because you're using debt the entire time. Then you pay it down once you get your paycheck immediately, and the thing just starts month after month, and you just keep, rinse and repeat. So there are a lot of answers for things if you want to do the work or not. But the long-term answer is, yeah, the tools are coming. It's just, it takes time.
Yeah, I think timing's a big part of it too. Like you guys all kind of alluded to this, and it makes sense. Like when Bitcoin was up, I was very happy to spend my Bitcoin. I haven't done it much lately because why would I? Like it's, I guess, in the sense of saying that even when I say it's worth it when the price is higher. So when we're thinking about this tax stuff and kind of just like the burden of doing it, it's not worth it when I'm going to lose money on it or lose, the exchange rate. If I'm going to be down on that, it doesn't make much sense for me to go through the hassle of potentially being taxed on it, of having to take 5 minutes and buy a gift card. I'd rather just keep those sats. But like when the price is going up, I'm like, well, it makes sense. Even if I got to pay a little bit of tax on this right now, even if it takes me 5 minutes, I have these sats from 6 months ago that have now doubled in value. That's worth it for me to spend some of those sats and buy something with it, and then hold on to my fiat for times like this. Like it's all timing based on what you need personally, what the fiat exchange rate is. And I think that there's no one size fits all for everybody. I think it's just depending on where you are, what the laws are, depending what the fiat exchange rate of Bitcoin's doing. Lots of different factors, I think, depending on how tech savvy you are, being able to buy a gift card with Bitcoin, use Lightning or Liquid first, so it's a little bit more private, things like that. There's a lot to it, I think. It's not just you should do it or you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, and there's so many implications of that, because I actually switched a little bit. I was very much of the side, I just want to have 100% of Bitcoin, and I just spend my Bitcoin. Yeah. It's fine with that. Now I'm seeing more and more the value of having some cash buffer and spending that. And so, I mean, I'm in a very unusual situation where I have fiat income and Bitcoin income, and both are like, it's like almost 50-50, not quite 50-50, which is kind of nice because I have fiat expenditures. Like one of my team members on my podcast, he takes Bitcoin. I'll pay him in Bitcoin. I get the Bitcoin from a sponsor. I pay him, a team member, directly in Bitcoin, and it's magical. It's nice because it's 3 different continents. I'm on a different continent than the team member. Then the sponsor is 3 different continents, and it just doesn't matter because I have the Bitcoin address, and we just like it's super easy to do. And in that sense, it's like such an amazing thing. But then there are companies that can't pay me in Bitcoin. Or they have some weird compliance thing, or they have something, they're like, oh, like we would love to pay you in Bitcoin, but hey, we have the EU behind us and they have this compliance things and we can only pay you in euros right now. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like, it's not you, it's the EU, I guess. And then it's also nice to have euros, because then I can just stay in euros and pay my people that I have to pay in euros directly in euros. And so I think this is where, like, I don't try to force Bitcoin medium of exchange adoption. I think it will come naturally as people will have a bigger portion of the wealth directly in Bitcoin, as the ecosystem gets built out, as the apps and all of those things get paid out. I think it will be just a nice, like, natural progression of that as people adopt more and more Bitcoin.
Yeah, the way that I think of it is, if somebody doesn't want Bitcoin, I'm not going to force them to take it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay them in Bitcoin if I expect that they're going to sell it and get dollars back. That doesn't make any sense to me. I'd rather just hold on to it and give them the dollar, get rid of the middleman, just hold on to the Bitcoin.
That's the other part of it too, though. Like the variables that I was talking about, that's a big variable in it, in the sense of, if you're somebody who's just buying Bitcoin as a DCA every week, and that's kind of like your long-term savings, and all those sats are KYC'd, it makes a little bit less sense to be spending that Bitcoin. But if you have a business that accepts Bitcoin from other people, either on Lightning, Liquid, whatever, I feel more comfortable doing that, because I don't really need to say why I feel that way, but that's the reality of things. Like, I feel better. What's going on here? Oh, sorry, boys. I'm missing out on the chat. I got a notification. I'll shut up.
No. Keep going.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, it just, sorry. I thought let's keep going longer for sure. There's a lot that goes into it. Everybody's in a unique situation. You know, I agree with Robin in the sense that it's just going to happen over time, organically, as people see the need to accept Bitcoin. The businesses will drive it. And eventually, if you want to buy something from a business that only accepts Bitcoin, you're going to have to learn how to buy Bitcoin. That's just simple as that.
Yeah, I think this is the interesting direction. It's not like, hey, I want to pay someone in Bitcoin. I think the other way it's going to be where businesses say, hey, I only take Bitcoin. And there is, I don't know if this is a thing outside of Vienna also, but in Vienna, in coffees, you have to almost always pay cash. They rarely take credit card. And it's like a massive city, and it's just a culture there. It's just a thing there, and they only take the cash. There are, of course, coffees in Vienna that take credit card, but those who do, they don't like it. They kind of look at you weirdly if you say card, and most of them just say like, no, it's just cash. Also Chinese places, if you get like Chinese food, they all take only cash. And so I think this will slowly happen where people like, hey, I want Bitcoin. Like it's a hustle to take fiat. I have to get an exchange account. I have to exchange it. Like I want to have my Bitcoin. Like why I don't want to deal with that fiat thing. And I don't know if this thing, what I think BTC Session is famous for saying that and doing that, giving a premium on if you want to pay with fiat, that might just be something. If you're a Bitcoiner and you value Bitcoin, like give a discount for if you want to pay give a premium if you want to pay in fiat. I think Bitcoin Prague, a lot of Bitcoin companies actually do that, where they like, hey, we have Bitcoin prices and we have fiat prices. You get a discount in Bitcoin or a premium in fiat, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I do that with my business. I think that's part of the incentive. Like there's also something called Thier's law. Like I mentioned Gresham's law earlier. Thier's law is regardless of legal tender laws, as a producer of goods and services, you demand a different currency than the current legal tender currency. And it's because the other one is worth less, right? You don't want to accept the fiat as a business owner because you want something of equal value for the goods and services you're creating. And by having that discount paid in Bitcoin or the premium paid in fiat, that is the business owner saying, hey, I would rather accept this. And because I would rather accept it, I'm willing to accept less value of it for the same service. So yeah, I mean, it all plays out in every way that we've talked about. It's all going to be this huge combination of everything, just leading to it becoming more of a medium of exchange over time. But it does have to it does have to make sense. And as an individual, you can make that choice. Like, I went to PubKey and bought a hot dog with Bitcoin. It's just fun, like it's a fun experience. I know that $15 of a couple of hot dogs that I bought is going to cost me way more looking back at it. But I'll accept that, right? Just because I wanted to experience what it was like to pay. But I think that eventually there'll be a reality where, yeah, I just rather be able to spend my money and not contribute to the fiat system at all. And the business is also saying, great, I will actually incentivize you in some way to spend this money, this Bitcoin, and give you a discount in some way.
It'll probably be a bimetallism type of world going forward too for a long time. Like the governments aren't going to just willingly and easily give up their power to print. So the beauty of Bitcoin is that you have this auditing mechanism and you have this thing that you have a control in the experiment now. And we've never had that. There's been, gold and silver were close, the closest things we had to this perfect measurement. And we have it now in order to be this reference guide to what's actually happening. And this is why the UBI talk is so big, CBDC talk. Like if you're using the government trash tokens, then you're going to get whatever the government's going to do, right? So like we're rapidly diverging into these two worlds of Bitcoin and freedom, and you get to choose your adventure, or the government's going to choose for you if you don't get into this new network, because they're not going to just give it away. They're not going to say, it might be worthless, 10 years from now and go down another 99% or whatever, but they're still going to have the ability to do it as long as people give them that ability, which maybe ends at some point. Who knows when that does end, if it does. But at some point, 100 years from now, it'll come back around. People, this is what you look at, like Argentina or Zimbabwe, some of these things, Argentina's had like 6 currencies. Like who keeps giving them the power to print money? Like you would think at some point someone would wake up and be like, yeah, you guys can't do this anymore. No, they still do it. So, we're going to have this bimetallism world for a long time. I hope that we don't. I hope it's just Bitcoin someday. It's all we have. But the beauty is focusing on ourselves, our family, our own mindset, taking care of what's right around us, putting ourselves on a Bitcoin standard, getting prepared, because that's the only way out of this. Planning on the government doing something is literally the worst way. Jim Rohn, one of my favorite, we talked about Bob Proctor the other day, right, George? But Jim Rohn always used to say, if you plan on government, you can divide your retirement by 5 at the end of life. But if you plan, through yourself, you can multiply by 5 at the end of your life. And no truer time, you can probably 10x that, 50x, either way now, 100x either way, if you let the government do it. So that's the world we're kind of going into. The sludge people are going to go one way with government, and they're going to, you see people breaking their minds with No Kings protests and like all these different people, the professors on, different shows. They don't understand what's happening in the world. The world order's breaking and everything they've known. The Bretton Woods system is breaking in front of their eyes, and they don't know. Like these people are like almost helpless because they've been brainwashed for so long. And only Bitcoiners are going to survive this going forward in a healthy, sane way. And that's the choice we have going forward.
It's that meme of the drawing of the guy in the corner at the party saying they don't know that Bitcoin's going to take over and they're going to be sludge people. Literally.
Yeah, there's a comment on from Satoshi's Solution in the chat. So the price of real estate will drop dramatically. This is hard to believe. It will need to last 50 years to transfer it. If you're measuring in Bitcoin, it's been going down for the last 10 years, significantly measured in Bitcoin. So it's the same as everything else, I think. And yeah.
Okay, George, it'll go up. This is so in Bitcoin terms, George, what George's saying is, yes, it's been going down for 17, 16 years, right? But it'll keep going up in fiat. Someone has the meme, from the last, couple of cycles where the Bitcoin price keeps getting, 1/10 every time the price of a medium-sized home. And it keeps going up by 100,000 in US dollars. So yeah, it's going to go. A home will cost $1 million, and then it'll be $10 million to acquire the median-sized home, but it'll be 0.1 Bitcoin to acquire that. And that's the reframing I think everyone has to really start going through, and the lens they need to look at their net worth. If you're looking at your net worth, you're looking at everything. You have to denominate in Bitcoin. You can do it in dollars too, but you got to do it. You have to do it in Bitcoin, or else you're going to completely miss it.
Yeah. I think sorry, go ahead, Robin.
No, go ahead, you.
I was just going to say the last thing I wanted to say on that with what were we talking about before now? Sorry.
We're talking the medium exchange. And we're talking
oh yeah, that's kind of my biggest fear, honestly, is that like we've been talking about the fact that more and more people are seeing the corruption in the fiat system. And I fear that there's going to be an easy, convenient option that's kind of put in the middle here that says, hey, this isn't fiat anymore. You can use this. It's accepted with Visa. You don't have to switch your MasterCard account. You can just start using this token, which you can hold, which is going to store your value, because fiat's trash. Because they're at the point now, governments are at that point where they're just going to have to start admitting how shitty the currency is, because they're going to have some solution of what's going to come next. And my biggest fear is that people are going to find that solution, whatever the government provides them, before they get to Bitcoin. Because right now, as things are going, they're going to find Bitcoin. And they'll eventually get back to Bitcoin, but it's just going to take longer, because that intermediary there is going to say, hey, we got a better option than fiat. Fiat sucks. Our old currency sucks.
You'll be extorted.
Here's a new one for you.
You want this stimmy check? You're going to download our app.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. That's absolutely coming. No doubt about it.
Or if you don't do what we want you to do, you're not going to get the check.
Correct. That's whatever it is. Health ID, digital ID, passport, right? Like, yeah, so true. So I know Forrest and Rajat, you guys have to go soon in a few minutes. So I would love your thoughts. I saw another good question someone had, and it was about deflation. Someone said, I think it was Dill Pickle, had said, wouldn't a Bitcoin system lead to deflation and incredible unemployment due to no one being able to take risk for business innovation or investments? So before you guys leave, I would love your guys' thoughts on that. You guys think really well in that space.
I don't think that you can't take risk because Bitcoin is deflationary. If anything, Bitcoin's getting me to take more risks, because I know that Bitcoin is stable. I know that it'll have it. I know that it'll be there. That stability gives me the ability to take even more risk. So I don't quite agree. And I'm just, I mean, I don't know when it'll happen, but I'm assuming that, let's say, for example, Bitcoin goes to $50 million. I'm sure all of us here, or even a lot of the people in the chat, even if somebody has like 0.1 Bitcoin, they're going to have so much money that they're not going to know what to do with it. $5 million at that point is going to be a lot of money, because you're not just going to have it sitting in your wallet. You're going to want to do something with it. And then I think that's going to lead to people taking more risks to get more Bitcoin. So I don't quite agree. Also, the fact that wages go down in terms of Bitcoin contribute to more employment, because employers can hire more people.
The way I look at it is, this is sort of framed in a way of looking at it through the fiat lens and the current system that we have. And deflation in this current system destroys it, right? You cannot have deflation. And that alone makes you realize that it's incredibly unstable. If you can't have a world where we have a deflationary currency, which is something that I believe is natural to have, then you've built something that shouldn't exist, that should be broken. And so the idea of like, there's lots of innovation that has happened from sort of all of this crazy investment because of the money printer and stuff. There's also been a huge amount of malinvestment, a bunch of wasted money, a bunch of wasted energy, time. And essentially what I'm saying there is that system is unsustainable. So regardless of any sort of positives we've gotten from innovation, from easy money, right? Like we had a zero interest rate policy environment, and it led to massive startups and ICOs and NFTs and all this crap that just really hasn't really amounted to very much, right? Like, what do we have? Taxis, but you call them from your phone instead through an app. Really not that innovative. Like, it's a huge thing, but it's really not that innovative. And obviously it was going to happen eventually at some point. And it was really just sort of, how do we get around the regulation and capture that the yellow cabs have? So it's the way I see it is, if something's not sustainable, then it should be allowed to fail. And something sustainable will be built up on top of something that is fixed in issuance and something that is predictable. That is Bitcoin. And it's hard to predict. Will we have more or less innovation built on something sustainable like that? It's hard to say, I would say, but it will definitely last a lot longer, and it will definitely not be unstable and lead to massive collapses every 4-8 years or whatever, that we have with depressions and recessions that are extractive to the individual and destroying the middle class. Like, we will have sustained growth as opposed to exponential growth and bust. That's just the way I see it based on Bitcoin, which makes a lot more sense.
I see it a lot more extreme than I think the saying we need inflation for the economy to work, or we need a central institution to steal purchasing power from all of us so we can have a working economy, it's just a central banking lie. That whole thing is so Keynesian and such a, like, for me, that's a lie that keeps the scam going. That's all for me it is.